when I was listening to the president's interview, I just thought either he lives in Canada and he sits in a place where people don't tell him anything happening about this country or indeed the issues that he's discussing. He's running through a list of things that he has done that he believes are so wonderful. And yet in reality, when some of us sit and if we were to do an audit on some of the stuff that he's talking about, it's just incredible. I mean, the reality is we have a country that in the last 3 years, where our budget debt capacity, we were about 12 trillion. If I am not wrong, because we haven't done that audit, we are waiting to do it, I think, next month. Soon, we are going to be at 16 trillion. So the president is talking about we've done houses. In fact, I've done these wonderful things. He's talking about education being... We are not having capitation money going to schools. Yeah. University students are at home. He's talking about fixing the healthcare system, which is... Yes, you go and some patients will tell you, oh, I used SHA and it paid. But the reality is we know that it's certain health facilities that are just being paid because those are the health facilities that are giving kickbacks to the national government officials who work in the Ministry of Health and the ones running SHA. We know that SHA is being run from Nairobi West Hospital. Why? Because the owner of Nairobi West Hospital is the one who has the software that is running the financial platform for SHA. I mean, we know that we have lost in terms of corruption, money which is being stolen from CDF, money. Why is the World Bank saying they are changing the conditionalities? We are just constantly misbehaving. And our reality for us in the opposition is very simple. When Gerard Gay is busy screaming at us, telling us how civil society people should be finured and in fact after that brought here so that they can be finured again, it simply means that Gerard Gay is either in another world, he has never understood where this country has come from. They were busy crying and screaming and shedding crocodile tears how Raila was a great guy. The same things that Raila was fighting about, even with his contradictions, are the ones now they are saying, hallelujah, hallelujah. So where people like me are, I'm like, I don't know what happened to us. And if you look at the whole spectrum, look at it. People are saying more than 20,000 Tanzanians have been killed out of what happened the other day from the elections, which were never elections. President Museveni comes up and says, oh, you know what, we picked up those little rabbits. And by the way, I say this with a lot of humility because Museveni is a personal friend. The question I want to ask the Ugandan president is this. In 1978, he walked into my home in Kisii. By that time, I mean, my father was a minister in government. Museveni needed to be kept and hidden away from Obote's people. He brought his Ugandan people who were teachers in a school that my father owned, who were his intelligence officers. What would happen if all of them had been killed? What would happen if my father had handed over Museveni to Obote? Because at that time, it was the best thing to do. And yet, in reality, I'm a bit relieved that he didn't kill the two gentlemen who were arrested. So we are talking about Africa and Africans, especially East Africans. All of a sudden, we've just become something else that I personally never thought would happen again.
Right.
Interpretation of who we have become. I'll ask you a question. How can Musalia, who is the CS Foreign Affairs right now, and President Museveni says, we nabbed these guys and in fact we've been putting them in the coolers, and the Kenyan government says nothing.
Yeah.
Just the way when we were killing youths, arguing that in fact these youths were literally dismantling the regime and they were anti-government. They didn't have any guns, they didn't have any bombs, they were using their phones. And we take that attitude and we decide, no, we're just going to abduct, kill some, throw some into toilets, some into dams. And that's normalized. Yeah. And the government says nothing, the president says nothing. You can see the comments that Suluhu has been giving in Tanzania, the same thing. You know, my relatives are Tanzanians, and it's unbelievable. I mean, if President Nyerere was to wake up today and talk about governance and leadership, and people have been like, oh, why is this lady behaving in such a manner? Because we didn't think she is a complete capitalist whose interests are being challenged every single transaction that has taken place in Tanzania, whether it's for the gas which the government had discovered before Kikwete left, and Suluhu has come up and brought Kikwete's friends are now the ones who have struck the deal on how the gas is going to be shared, whether it's the railway that is being done from the Tanzania railway that is coming up to Moshi, whether it is land which he is leasing out to the Qataris and the UAE honchos. I mean, they form up their companies, they take those companies from the Cayman Islands, then they bring those companies and investors who are coming to take over millions and millions of acres of land so that then this land can produce food, which is supposed to be exported out of the country. And then you see what they want to do is bring machines to work on those farms so Tanzanians will not even have jobs. I mean, every single thing being done is you have oligarchs that are managing the resources of our countries, that are sharing with the external factors and external individuals and outfits, and they are sharing the profits out of this, and they're asking Africans to sit around and just watch how they're eating from the high table. At some point, that is why they fear these activists, because the moment we begin to tell people that this is what is happening to your resources, people are going to go crazy. Imagine Kenya has got rare minerals on the Mrima Highland, the Mrima Hills in Taita Taveta, and the total amount of money the US government wants to pay is $76 billion for those minerals. And then what is happening? A private company is being set that is going to come from somewhere. They are going to take the ownership of these mines, and they are going to make all that money for themselves, and Kenya will not receive a single penny.
Senator,
then what do you want me, if I am not an activist? Assume I am an activist. What do you want me to do when all I'm saying is telling you, stop stealing our resources?